Hello there everyone, welcome back, and today we're taking a look at this. Now this is a pretty interesting blaster. Functionally it's the same as a Nerf Hammershot or a Nerf Fortnite 6-SH. They're all revolver type hammer primed blasters you pull back by pulling the hammer there. Though there is one important difference between this and the other two blasters. The Hammershot has a capacity of 5 darts, the 6-SH has a capacity of 6 darts, but this has a capacity of 8 darts, as you can see here. Now, the left side of this blaster is open. The cylinder area is more open than the right side, which allows you to feed more darts in here. Which, there's a couple different ways that Nerf designers have done that in the past. There's a different way with something such as a strong arm here, where you actually have a loading gate on the left side, where if you press the button, then the cylinder swings out and allows you to load in, say, however many Nerf darts you're going to fire, and then, you fire it, and then when you reload, you just pop out again and reload. Though there's also something like this, which has it open, which the advantage of that is that it's a little bit quicker and perhaps a little more practical, though the disadvantage is that it might take away from the appearance a bit, because obviously the right side of this blaster with a paint and with everything looks pretty cool, but the left side, I mean, it's not bad, but, it's definitely different. But that aside, it's a fairly interesting blaster, partly because of that, with the 8 darts, which is much higher capacity than any other stock Nerf revolver style blaster. I mean, there are kits you can get. There's mods you can do online. There's various third-party companies that sell different cylinders with higher capacities for the Hammershot. I think there's people who sell 6, 7, 8, and perhaps even 9 dart capacity cylinders, but you have to do a little bit of modification for that to work. But this is stock. You can go on you can buy it on store shelves, which is pretty cool. And it is part of the Elite 2.0 series, which I'm not particularly high on. I've done a sort of a review of the Phoenix in the past. That was not a great blaster, though not terrible, but this I can confidently say, along with the Motoblitz, which I did a review of a while back, is a very good blaster. Now, compared to the 6-SH, which I also very liked, it's a little bit different, even though it's a similar type of blaster. The grip, for instance, is quite a bit different. It's opposed to the SH, which has a little more of a slanted grip, and then it's bigger, which for me, I mean, it worked, and this grip I actually prefer, though I will point out that it is smaller, so if you happen to have a larger hand, which I have pretty small hands, but if you happen to have average or above average sized hands, this might not be quite as comfortable to use as a SH or even the Hammershot, but for my relatively small hands, it fits like a glove. So yeah, it's not a whole lot else left to go over the appearance of this blaster. There's not a whole lot to it. There's actually kind of a tack rail down here, so if you want to mount a scope upside down for some reason, you have the ability to do that, or if you want to mount a bipod for for more stability, you have the ability to do that. But yeah, so it's an interesting blaster. There's not a whole lot to it due to the nature of it, but I'll go ahead and fire it. And like I said, functionally it's pretty much the same as a Hammershot or a 6-SH. I'm firing the Adventure Force Waffle Head darts here, just with an extra 2 dart capacity, making a total of 8, which means that you don't have to reload quite as often. And one more behind the back. There we go. Kind of. So yeah, it's a pretty decent blaster. One thing I will note is that sort of these holes on the left side of the blaster here, which is kind of hard to see. It's not going to show up on my potato camera, but you can actually kind of see the internals, which, while that being cool, means that there's definitely possibility of dirt or grime getting into there, so just be careful on that end. Maybe don't leave this outside, and make sure, I don't know, just take steps to make sure that dirt doesn't get into the internals, because if you do that, then you have to take the blaster apart to be able to clean it, and a dirty blaster is not very useful, and it is liable to break. That aside, it's a pretty decent blaster with 8 dart capacity. I would say that personally, I prefer this. I definitely prefer this to the hammer shot. I'd say it's about par with a 6-SH. For me personally, I prefer this one, but the grip makes for it being not quite as good as the one that the 6-SH has, due to the fact that it's less versatile. So if you have a larger hand, it might not be quite as good. That aside, it's pretty decent. The extra barrel length means that it's a little bit longer, which in some ways isn't ideal if you want to put it in a holster or something, but I'm sure it's possible to cut down to about there or so, or even further, because the couple of inches here is mostly just empty space, so it doesn't really serve a purpose beyond the aesthetics of the blaster itself. But that's pretty much it. It's a pretty interesting blaster, and the one other thing I will say is that the trigger is actually pretty good. This is one of the triggers I really like about the blasters. It's pretty smooth, and of course it's pretty comfortable for me personally, but like I said, if you have a large hand, then it might not be quite as comfortable. But tack rail on the bottom is an interesting feature. It's not that useful, but it is, of course, stylized with a ribbing that's cut into it, and it's pretty interesting, which that's all I really have to say about it. There's not a whole lot to this. It's not like the Motoblitz where there's all the different features and such, but that aside, I hope that all of you are doing well in the holidays that are here, and unless you happen to be watching this video in July or something, which case I still hope that you're doing well. So that's pretty much it for today, and I hope that you have a good day, everybody.